Welcome back. We back with another video. What's up, cats, ladies?
This is Lou.
I'm Parquito.
This is Mo, Lou and Mo Podcast.
Come on,
Parquito away coming soon.
Lou
Vicious
coming soon. What's up, ladies?
Real talk
It's gonna
with
be
Mo,
all
check us
about
out.
ladies.
He's just gonna be for the fellas, getting the fellas ready for the ladies.
So, anyways, we were just having we had like an hour and a half conversation. And we just ran
awesome
out
on
of
the video. Hopefully we can get back into it.
So one of these was about order. Mo goes to church a lot, and in church today they were speaking at Parquito. They spoke about the order of things. So you want to go ahead and give us what you learned? What'd you learn today?
Well, it was just about keeping order, and the way that the world's going now, they want to try to, they want to change the order of certain things. Right? They don't think everything that's good. We always think it could be better. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter if it's natural order or if it's like the way the world works between, as far as like, we'll just go for the big one is like men and women, right? How that works. They want dynamics works, and how we're different, and men are different than women, and this and that, and how we but we come together and we make a beautiful thing. That's how we've gotten to where we are at 2023, right? Around the world, you could say like the development of the world has been created because of that dynamic. And every other country goes off of that dynamic, right? And you go to China, and they're more instilled in the older way of stuff too. Right? America, we try to progress, we try to go above, but a lot of these other countries are in the old ways as far as how order was, especially when it comes to men and women. I don't want to just stick to that, but the order, how it is. China, Russia, right? They stick to the order. We want to always, my whole thing was like, we always want to change it, progress, keep getting better. I just think eventually you got to get, you can't, there's going to be times where better jumps us like, fast, and then there's gonna be times where better is over here. Right, like better's down here somewhere, but we want it right here. Like everything else moves so quickly. Like we were talking about technology. Like I remember my Nextel, flipping it, could barely see the screen. I couldn't see anything on the internet. I could see words. When I looked up internet, it was words. Right? Pictures.
That wasn't that long ago.
That wasn't that long ago. Pictures were fuzzy. AOL, internet, like all these things change so quickly.
Video game,
and now it's graphics. Like, what's the next thing? And we've got to, and now we can't just jump a little bit. Right now we're getting little flip phones that the whole screen you can see,
the whole glass flip, flippies.
And that's just for phones, but like for all our technology, internet, right? We ain't got to plug in no more.
We don't go to Blockbuster anymore. We stream,
right? But it feels like there's a certain point where society and certain people
want everything right now.
They want it quicker. Like, oh man, what are we doing? Faster. Why are we so far behind? Like we're so like, and I think they do that as far as the world works too. Like the dynamic of the world, of people, of business, of all these things, and it becomes a thing where it's like, man, we chasing like this might be 20 years from now that this is possible. You know what I mean?
You know what the thing I was thinking
chasing
about
like a dream.
Even when I got good at martial arts, stuff like that.
That was skills right there. You should have seen how quick he.
I'm fast, quicker than Hiccup. But when I found out that like when I started progressing in martial arts or progressing in plumbing, I would always have to bring it back to basics. So if my basics and my foundation, my fundamentals aren't there, then all the new shit the techniques that I learned, or all the new ways to solve problems that I learned, doesn't work without the basic foundation that I was taught and how I learned. So I always go back to it. And I feel like nowadays we have to revert back a little to basics.
Martial arts is a good example. Yeah. Because the things that we're learning has been done Genghis Khan. Right?
Centuries.
The karate, the kung fu, the jiu-jitsu, that was made in like Genghis Khan, Roman Greco wrestling. It's Roman Greco, like Romans, right? So it's like, but we haven't progressed to where we're like, oh, you don't have to touch the guy no more. You can knock him down just by rubbing your hand over him, right? It always
starts at the basics.
We still do the same thing when it comes to those things.
You have to go back to be able to do all those cool things and those to progress. And
but other things we just can't. We can't handle it. We can't handle it.
And I feel like we do. We need a little bit of a factory reset.
We need to go back to the basics. I think. Yeah. Right. What do you think, Paquito?
I believe so. I think sometimes we're trying to progress a little too fast, like you said. And for instance, like this AI stuff, where it can take someone's voice
Put it in. Yeah.
and just put it in a system where you can have that person saying anything.
And they ain't never said any of it.
Yeah, so
That's crazy.
like that's one of those things that I've been thinking about lately, which we were talking about Charlemagne too. I listened to them on the radio and Breakfast Club and other things they got going on, and he was saying how dangerous he felt that was, and I agree. Like it's really dangerous. So
Even with video, you don't know who
Yeah.
you're talking to.
you don't know who you're talking to,
And how quick we jump to conclusions now. All they gotta do is put out a video tomorrow. They say
Yeah, right.
Charlemagne said whatever, and they have his voice on the video.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna question it.
No, like
They
Charlemagne
just gonna
said,
spread it.
Yeah.
And he could have said the worst thing you'd ever thought of, and he's banned, or he's like,
and he didn't even say it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
now we don't know if he really said it. Like, oh no, I believe he said it. You got people saying he did, he didn't, and it was probably synthesized or whatever on chat,
Yeah.
on them programs.
So yeah, we already had an issue where people would jump to conclusions without knowing all the facts and moving emotionally or acting emotionally. Now with AI,
They can,
wow.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
That's
crazy.
No, it's crazy. That's why. But it's like, it's the same thing with AI thing, right? It's like it can do what it can do right now. We don't even care.
No.
We want it to be able to cook dinner.
No, do more.
Right? It's like, bro, relax.
Do more.
Yeah, right.
It's already doing enough.
Sometimes you don't get stuff that comes fast is not always good, right?
True.
Like stuff has to take time. Like it takes time. It took us to today to get to where we are today, right? It
Yeah.
took all that time before that, the
To get here.
2000,
Yeah.
whatever, however you look at the
70s, 80s,
history was.
90s.
It took us all this time to get to here,
Yeah.
but you want to get from here to year 5000 technology or something. And it's like. And it goes with thinking too. Our thinking, the way our families were working, the way our society works, right? The way stuff is built and stuff is created. It's like we just want to jump, and that's the same thing with like the foods, right? Like now we're making food. At some
Yeah.
point, it's like I don't know, man. Like I'm trying to be a vegetarian, trying not to eat meat as much as I used to. But that's almost a point where it's like. I don't know. Like I don't know if me getting the food from an animal that's here is that much better than you making the food out of glucose and cellulose.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right? You made my burger out of something, but it's not
I don't know
something,
what
right?
it
You
is.
took some plant, but you also took a bunch of other stuff to make it a burger.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's, to me it's like I think we jumping, and then people are getting, and then we can't even, as far as that goes, we can't even acknowledge if that's causing people to get sick or anything like
True,
that, because
right.
there's so much other shit going
Well,
on.
everything needs to be tested, right? So we won't
Well, we're
know
the
that
testers.
for another 80 years from now. I'm gonna be like, damn,
50
bro.
years,
I knew everything burger was a
50
bad
years
idea.
they be like beyond people,
late.
got
Yeah,
like
Beyond
cancer of the liver, and you're like,
we won't know.
How would I know?
We won't know the end result of that till later.
Plant-based.
Plant-based. How we know
Burgers.
plant-based? You know what I mean? We don't know these things, and we want to jump so fast. Like, 'cause as soon as this came out, everybody's got to be a vegan. Everybody's got to be a
I
vegetarian.
mean, we could find out, what the ingredients are,
Yeah, but we don't know what it does
We
to
don't
your
know
body.
what it does.
You can take
Okay.
an ingredient and combine it with 15 ingredients and not know that two of those ingredients are the two things to
That's
combine
gonna
that can
make
fuck
it
you up.
mess you up.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't really know, like, what happens in my body, right? Like, me and my wife are, she's more of a straight life vegetarian, but we don't know for 50 years if her body is gonna react this. You know what I mean? Like, if something's gonna happen to her body because she
We won't
doesn't
know that.
eat meat,
Yeah, we won't.
right? And it's like, but we jumped so quickly that we wanted to do it so badly.
But actually, we do know that vegans or vegetarians sometimes they lack a lot of nutrients that
that meat
that you
people
can
eat
get
people eat
from
meat.
meat. Yeah.
Correct. Vitamin
so
K,
so they have to
Yeah.
supplement
I mean, not
that in
K,
other ways.
B12.
They have to find other ways to get those same vitamins.
Correct.
So they usually have to take like other.
But that was from
supplements
test
and
dummies
whatnot.
too.
Yeah.
Right, test dummies that was eating, I eat vegan, I eat vegetarian all the time, and now we find out like, why you ain't got no energy? And they're like, oh no,
our bad.
Oh, because they ain't got no
Whoopsie
B6 or
daisy.
B12 in your vegetable. Oh, okay, I gotta take a supplement now. But now you already like sick.
Too late.
So now, but my point is not even vegetarians, because I know
Well, when
like
they were fucking with
I know
nuclear
like
shit.
Mediterranean diets people live longer. Like people in the Middle East and
Bro,
Europe.
the first microwave
so I
was
get all
killing
that.
people.
Yeah, that's like-
Mutating people.
Just like the other day, you know, and
Yeah,
let me get
microwaves
this.
still
So fucking
cancerous.
nuke it. You're nuclear. It's nuclear
Yeah.
shit in there.
Yeah, but they were saying, you know, who debunked that Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah.
He was saying it's just the same as like the heat waves from the sun.
Particle waves.
Yeah, because you know what's funny? Joe Rogan said the same thing. He was like, he has a friend of his wife's that doesn't use the microwave because
Because
she
of that
thinks it's
reason.
nuclear, right? Or whatever. Not nuclear, whatever that is. Radio waves, radioactive or whatever. And he's like, no, it's just the same thing as you heat. The sun hits you. Those same type of waves are the
Well,
same
there's
waves.
still
that heat
toxic.
it.
Like even with toxic.
It's
That's what they say.
radiation.
Yeah. Radiation.
Well, it's waves, but it's not radiation as like. He was, and you gotta listen to Neil
He
deGrasse
explains it.
Tyson
He's a
explain.
scientist, so it's hard for us to.
Oh,
So it's,
okay.
I'm not gonna
Fuck
argue
with
with him.
But still, they used
About
to have
that, I'm not
toxic
gonna-
waste areas in every single state.
Yeah.
They got, but you don't see that shit no more because it was.
Yeah, but like even
just
the people,
the fumes
even
alone.
even the
was
people
fucking
that
with
lived
people.
under the power lines,
That's what I'm saying.
right? They got that. They said, you know, got.
But we had to learn our lesson. You'd be like, oops.
But you're gonna be the test dummy now.
Oopsies.
You're gonna be the Beyond Burger test dummy right now because if it doesn't work, then you'll be sick.
But
30
that
years
is
from
also
now.
a part of that pushing that.
But we push
progression.
this. Well, that's what I'm saying. That was my whole point. Was
Yeah.
you know, we went
We
to a
don't-
point
yeah.
where you know vegetarian was cool, not eating meat was cool, right? And now it's like you have to do it. If you don't do this, you don't care about this, and you don't care about this, and you eat animals and this and that, and it became a thing where it's like you want it to happen right now. The same thing with like the environment. Like we want the climate change to, or you know whatever that you know however you look at it, to stop today.
Yeah.
So no oil, no gas. The problem is, you know, again, and this is the progression thing, how fast we want it to happen. By 2035, right? We want to do this. We don't even have technology to replace it,
Right.
right? But you already done made a date that we're going to do it. We don't have the technology. Nobody's created it yet. But you want it. You're putting a deadline on advancement. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
2035, we're going to stop.
Well, if you look at society
But our
before,
society
if you learn from
took how
history,
long?
if you learn from history, I'm pretty sure the Russians thought they. I mean, not the Russians. I'm pretty sure that the Romans thought they had it all figured out.
Of course.
I'm there like we got this. We figure out. There's no advancement from here. We're good.
Yeah.
We've literally figured it out, conquered the world. We're
Yeah.
good. And they didn't figure it out.
Oh yeah.
Look
No,
where
we're
at now.
always advancing. I just
You know
think the push for progression is so far.
It is too
that
far.
it drives people crazy because it's not going to happen. It's the same thing with, like I said, about the climate change
Those
thing,
are
right?
Bring up.
Those companies, I mean, like India and these up and coming countries, they use oil and coal to feed everybody in the country.
Yeah.
Without it, they would starve.
Yeah.
They don't have the technology or the resources or the infrastructure to just start building electric cars running down the middle of India,
Yeah.
right? So no matter how
They
fast
don't have
we
the
go,
resources.
it's still going to take time for everything to grow to
Get
be
to that
the utopia that you know people envision or whatever that you know how they
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
see it.
yeah.
And I just think that they do that with everything. We do that with all of our aspects of life, family life, this and that. Oh, we don't need to have you know families together anymore. We could just you know be now people say like polyamorous. We could just have a bunch of wives or whatever, and that's cool too,
Polygamy,
right?
too.
Polygamy. We could do polygamy. That works. And it's like we just latch onto these things and we want to push. But this is the best way to go for life, right? But it's like, come on, bro. Like it took us this long to get here with just the basics that we use to get here,
Yeah.
right? For the most part of the society,
Sometimes
we
we need
use
to take
pretty
a
much the
step
same
back.
thing. It's
Take
like,
a
bro,
breath.
relax.
Take a deep
Just
breath.
relax.
Enjoy what you got
We'll
for a minute.
advance. It might be like I
We'll
said.
get there.
We advance quickly, and it might be a little bit longer for the
You wanna know
next
what it is,
advancement.
too? We got to
A little bit
focus on our
longer.
children, right? Let's say if we, I think there's,
Yeah, we
I
miss
think
out
there's
on
a
the
minute.
present,
Yeah, I
too.
think there's a minute where I think even after World War II, I think there was a moment where we were like, we got to slow down for a minute. We got to slow down. Everything changed. Advancements came out. We were like, so there was a good gap in between there where we were just chilling, trying to figure some shit out. Some things, some earth-shattering things happened. Some different types of things happened to pull forth that advancement. Waco happened, right? So many things happened after all of that. Let's everybody slow down for a minute. Let's raise our children properly because they're the wave of the future that's going to be inventing that next step, that next progression,
Yeah.
or their kids' will
Yeah.
invent that next progression. But if we're not focused on our kids and not focused on the youth, then I think that's going to be.
But
a problem.
even then, I get what you're saying. But I think even that has become an issue for us, right?
I agree. Well, look at the world. They're
Well,
everybody's fucking losing.
but we
their
think
minds.
like the kids are. Listen, I love my son. The kids are the future. All
Yeah.
that good stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We had a the songs about
Michael
it.
Jackson and shit.
Listen, like it's still gonna develop the same way it develops, right? The world is still gonna go.
Make shit a better place and shit.
The world is still gonna develop, but we're like, oh, well, and then the new generation comes along, especially like this generation just now.
Yeah.
They think that they have to fix all the problems today.
Yeah.
Right. That's why they got to go out and protest, throw tomato sauce on a picture, right, and do all these things, right, to show climate change, right? They throw sauce on a Mona Lisa, right, because they want to do it today because we told them they the future and they're the ones that's gonna change the world for the better. But still, but we're pushing that on them. That's not their that's not their problem. We still gotta push, and then they gotta push past us.
Yeah.
But they don't know the answers that we don't already know. We know what we need to do too.
You have to make a good enough,
That makes
good
sense.
enough, safe enough environment to raise
like-
that next.
But like you said, go back to raising kids.
Yeah.
With the normal stuff.
100%.
Respect, treating people, everybody equally, right? These things, normal stuff that we were doing at one point, where I think most people,
We need to
most
take a
good
break.
people,
But what is normal?
well, the normal way like society
Well,
was treating
that's
people.
depending
at
on
one
what
point,
household
right?
you're in, right?
If you took I know there was a minority of people that were bad people, right? You got 10% in everything. You're always gonna have that, right? You're gonna have 10%. But our society wouldn't have progressed if everybody was treating everybody like shit. Right, it just wouldn't have, right? If it was that as bad as that we want it to be, then we wouldn't have advanced to where we are now, to where the world is the way the world is today.
I got
And
a
the world is
question.
pretty great right now.
What about,
Yeah.
is it okay to believe in God and science?
Of course,
Yes, of
Right.
course.
they spell.
So almost every single
God-
generation, we
most
could
people-
teach that to our children. It's okay to believe in God and science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay
sure.
to believe in God and math.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right? So like
Yeah.
overall I think that these are key components that help build, right? Those are just like then you also have to societally explain to them like you have to be able to retain this information. You can't bring that phone and to do the SATs. You gotta do your SATs.
Retaining some information,
and you gotta
yeah.
be able to retain
I
that
had-
information.
there was
Like,
a
these are
con-
all important things.
There was a conversation.
and you
where
can learn more on this phone.
There was a conversation I was listening to a guy. He was like, he doesn't understand why we even do 1 to 12, right? Why we
Yeah.
do 1 through 12. And
Yeah.
I'm like, because these are basics.
Yeah.
What,
We
what-
have to have a basic foundation.
What did he think should happen?
He,
What grades?
I forgot how
thought
he
we should
explained
have?
it. I did a video on TikTok. You can check it.
He's like, why 12?
But he was like, they don't teach anything in 1 through 12. There's stuff that we learn that we don't know. We need to
11
learn.
and 12,
he was
yeah.
saying other stuff that we need to learn, which I agree to a point
agree.
on certain things. Like I think financial literacy, like they're gonna start doing in
But it's
Florida.
still back to basics, right?
Basic stuff is what I'm saying. So like even like now we're gonna start doing financial literacy. I think in
That's
high
great.
school in
Okay.
Florida and stuff
I
like that.
believe that's
So
important.
that's cool. But like even just learning like how to write we don't even write in cursive no more. Right? Kids ain't writing in cursive no more, which is
That's crazy.
kind of crazy to me. And I don't know the reason why we learned it in the first place. To be honest with
It's
you,
an
right?
old, it's an old
But it
school
wasn't
way.
part of the way we were learning things.
Yeah, right.
Right? That's how you sign your name.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't write in cursive, then you don't really have a signature.
You have a print and
So-
then you have a signature.
So I don't know if that was the reasoning. I never knew. I can't go back to the history of when they said you gotta learn cursive in school, but we did. It was part of
Part of the
right,
thing.
right. Reading was part of it. We all doing that. We learn about science. We learn about the
We're a
smallest.
generation who had to learn cursive, how to do regular print handwriting, and then
Oh,
also
yeah, we didn't have a-
like English
anything,
language
so-
arts. Then we also had to learn computers all
learn-
at the same time.
But learning
When
about
computers first came out.
a little bit of history, a little bit of science, some math. Right, you learning these things. These are basics that I think.
History.
My whole thing is like they're basics that my son can talk to somebody in Oklahoma and they both learn these basic things.
I agree, but there's also a part too where it's like as if they want to push history more than they want to push math. They want to push history, right?
No, I
more
think
than
it's
they
just-
want to push science. They would rather push history more than they want to push the church.
Well,
history we gotta
church is-
learn from.
Well, church is out of schools anyways, which
Yeah,
I
true.
think is another bad thing. But
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. But
Yeah,
we don't even say God anymore in school. So
But history is important.
in regular school. So
History is important, but so are
we
the
need to
other
learn all
things.
that stuff.
And all of that is contradictory.
What?
The fact that God is taken out of school,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but then they want you to learn certain things about the country, about laws, and about this and that. And
There's so much
if you
stuff to
think
learn.
about it, a lot of the laws
Oh, God's
Well,
laws.
it would
or
be-
biblical principles came
it's
from
It's
the
true.
Bible.
It's true. But if you think about it, like you don't want to push, like there's so many religions, you don't want to push one specific one, right? So that's up to the
But if you-
parent on what
Yeah,
they
but
follow.
if you
See,
pay
yeah.
attention, there's one,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't even call Christianity a religion, but there's one basic belief that we all go by.
Well,
and
most
that's
people.
like
Yeah.
with God, right?
Yeah.
Thou shalt not kill is you shouldn't
But
murder nobody, you shouldn't kill nobody.
It's from the
you know what I'm
Bible,
saying?
correct?
Yeah, so it is still pushing towards one ideology and one way of thinking over the others.
For sure, but a lawyer can't just go, let me study God and then I'll do a lawyer. I'll become a lawyer. He has to study how to become.
No,
a lawyer.
we're talking about the basics. You're going too far. You're going
I
to
got
advanced. You're like a surgeon can't study
Yeah.
the Bible either.
He
But
can, but
he can,
do
but
that
he's
on
not
his
gonna
own
be. I
damn
wouldn't let
time.
him do surgery on me after he
I
studied
need
the
you
Bible.
to fix my stomach.
yeah,
too.
of course.
I was like, well, how much studying did you do? Like, I read every
Listen, bro.
part of the Bible.
Listen, bro.
Yeah,
I
that's
even
not
read the
what I'm
Quran.
saying.
You're like, God.
And I open you up, and I'm gonna be like,
Hey, right, no,
hey, back up, bro.
You don't qualify.
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Don't
That
get me
was
wrong.
the
I'm
point
not
I
saying.
was saying,
I'm not
yeah.
saying replace math, right?
All right, Jesus.
With Jesus, right? I'm not saying. I'm saying.
Okay, thank God. I was just saying.
He's like a lawyer gonna learn it. Lawyer gonna be fighting you in court. Gonna be like, well,
Jesus
God
said-
said, God said this, and the judge gonna be like, get this guy out of my
Order in the court.
order in the court. What is he talking
the
about?
hell's going on right
No,
now?
I was
you
just
get your
talking
law
about the
degree from?
contradiction of taking God out of school.
Yeah.
But yet, like almost everything.
But you know what it
around
goes
us
They
back
don't
is
to?
just-
pledge allegiance to the flag anymore. They don't,
Yeah, they don't
they
even
don't
do
even
that
teach them
no more. It's
America
crazy.
anymore.
You know what? But you know what
Here's
that
the
goes back to
Yeah,
is
it's
because I've
crazy.
heard Sam Harris and this other guy talk about it, and it goes back to where we think morality comes from. Like, why do you think you don't kill another person and just don't kill them? Like, why do you think you don't steal? Like, you know, why do you
Yeah.
think like I shouldn't steal?
I shouldn't do that. Yeah.
It comes from the. If you're religious, it would come from the Bible. I don't know where you would get morality from if you don't go to the Bible, because you would just say like I was born in the world, and you just have to go off what the world is doing to not steal.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who's coming from a religious background, it was taught to you that this is what God said,
Yeah.
and that's your authority figure. Don't steal.
Yeah. I
And
get
then
that.
you would learn the laws of the land, and the laws of the land. would
Well,
tell you
there's
the
an
same thing.
outside thinking, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's say you. I'm not saying you're the homeless.
I'm talking
guy.
where morality came from,
I'm not
though.
saying you're the homeless guy outside, but this is an important factor into that, right? Because it can turn into something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the homeless guy you see outside, but he makes a lot of sense, and he's like, "And America was this," and he started talking about like.
We probably had knowledge.
He knows
at one
everything,
time.
right?
Yeah.
And that he chose homelessness.
Still has.
He doesn't want to be part of
Yeah,
that,
man.
but realistically, he doesn't want to be
Wisdom.
part of that link in the system. But he has a real smart brain. A guy said to me the other day, he's like, "So you're telling me I was born on the planet Earth just like everybody else, but I got to fucking pay to live here? Who's in charge of this?" Which is a fucking mind-blowing answer, right? Cool. When you think
Mind-blowing
about
question.
it. Right, question, right?
Uh-huh.
Who the fuck do I have to answer to, bitch? I was born on the planet. I didn't ask to be born here. Why am I paying anything?
Yeah.
I should just live off the
But
land however I want to live off the land.
But that's
See, it took a
societal.
homeless man to think about
Yeah.
that.
But that's
Outside the box.
But see, for me, I could answer that.
Outside
Like, it's
the box.
societal, right? Because
But he's smart.
if we don't have societies and we don't have communities, then we're just it's gonna be chaos.
It's gonna be chaos. We have to have some type of order.
Because everybody's right,
Yes.
right?
order.
You telling me that that's your land, I'm telling you that's my land. If we don't have somebody to put a gate up to say this is your side, this is my side, we would kill each other. That's how they did wars in the day back in the days. That's why I said that's what I'm saying about progression of civilization. We progressed a lot because back in the days, the Romans, if they seen them guys over there, they're like, all right, get the troops together. Let's go. We're taking over
We gotta
this.
take,
I don't
we
have
gotta
this
take all
land.
that. I saw
And then
two
you just
hot girls
go,
over there too. We
you
gotta
go,
take
you stab them, kill them.
Yeah.
If anybody
Rape,
doesn't
pillage.
submit, you enslave them and you
Burn
kill
them.
them and you burn the village.
them. Burn the village.
That's
Seal
that's
it.
when we had to have some type of laws in place.
Can't be like, you know, the Vikings were.
Yeah.
Vikings kind of fucking shit
So-
up right now, guys. We
Yeah,
gotta do
the
something
Vikings are
else.
just going anywhere and just pillaging,
Taking
right?
shit.
So it's like
But
if we,
look at what Russia's doing to Ukraine.
and that's the thing.
That's
That's
an
the
old
thing, too.
school way of
But that's been
thinking.
going on
Uh-huh.
for a
It
long
has
time.
for a long time,
Yeah.
right? It might even go back as far as like that time.
Way back. Way back.
Vlad the Impaler, and I mean I don't know all the history about that, but like
Yeah.
you know the Russian oligarchs.
The
and all
wars
that.
fucked everything up.
So that's
and
that's
they want their
but,
land
but we
back and
but we
shit.
for the majority of the world we stopped that.
Yeah. But we had to
Right.
start
Yeah.
logically
We
thinking
stopped
about
that,
things, right?
and we kind of let people like
Without
have
it,
their
we don't
land.
have lights in our house. Without it, we don't have water
Yeah,
coming to my
kind
house.
of.
I kind of stopped that
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
because if you look at the whole back in the days, that's all it
Florida.
was.
Yeah.
Because look at the Caribbean. The Caribbean is still kind of owned by
That same.
Yeah.
all those
mentality.
countries
Yeah.
that colonized them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to look at that too, but you got to look at
Like
also.
Jamaica is still like
know.
England, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you still
Mhm.
Jamaica's actually by themselves. They're independent now, but now they're pretty much
Okay.
owned by China
Because the Chinese
because they sold
people
everything.
took over, right?
They sold everything
Yeah.
to China. The airport's Chinese.
Well, somebody said that somebody
So,
turned
that's
currency in
crazy,
from like coin.
We used to have
which
gold.
which it was a coin.
If you didn't have gold,
it was called a shekel,
vegetables.
and they
Vegetables.
changed that
Shekels, yeah.
into a freaking. Somebody said paper is gonna be the way to go, and somebody changed it. So somebody created it, but we had
but this
to
is-
learn.
But this is all part of that progression.
Yeah,
thing
we
we're
had to
talking
learn
about.
it. Like, oh crap, that's not gonna work.
We've had it where we just traded fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, we did
like
it.
You give me
Bartering.
6 sweet potatoes and I'll give you a 5 bananas.
We had to fix it.
That seems like a good deal to you? Yeah. Good deal. But then we had to regulate it to where everybody is on the same page.
That's generations and generations of
But that's
learning from
hundreds
mistakes.
of years, thousands of years.
Yeah, mistakes made,
Correct.
and we were like, let's
So,
how can this
so I don't
work?
like to. I'm not saying it's the best, and we couldn't have been better, or we can't be better. Of course, there's always better. There's always another. But I'm saying, as you look how we started, it's kind of a long way for a society to be able to where we're at today. Is what I'm saying too. It's like we're kind of far. Like I know people want to be farther. I get it. But like we're pretty far as we are today. If you go back to then, right when the mailman used to drive the wagon with a horse to bring you mail, and you didn't get it for days. You send a letter to Texas, and you'll be like, I'm waiting on that letter, and it's like a week later, and you're like,
they would nail a letter to the back of a horse's ass.
I said,
and then he would head his way back to where he came from.
I was like, it's gonna be 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks for a letter, and you're like, all right, well I'll wait here for it. You know what I mean? You could be dead by the time the letter gets to you. You don't even know if the letter got to you because you ain't sent the letter back.
Boy, that's what I'm saying. We figured some things out to the point where we're in electric cars now. We need to slow down.
No, we're fine.
I'm just kidding.
So what I'm saying is like I kind of look at those things of history and try to
learn.
Trying to come to where I'm at now today.
It's not like we have a lot of control.
I'm not saying that it can't get better. It always
over the progression, but like, let's say the right person's listening to something like this or something similar to this. People aren't talking about this, and I think that's the reason why we another reason why we did the podcast, because these are conversations that people aren't having.
They're not having.
That's important to have. We're talking about progression. We're talking about we need science and Jesus.
The basics.
Who
of
else
life.
is saying science and Jesus? Can we believe in both? Like nobody's talking about this shit. Not that I know of. Not that I've seen.
Well, yeah.
They'd rather be talking about these OnlyFans girls instead of talking about this shit. This is more important.
Yeah, but
we were speaking about progression, right? Speaking of progression and currency, now the progression is where they're trying to make a digital assets, right? Mm-hmm. And make that more common. What y'all think about that?
Good luck with that.
Well, what do y'all think about it? And I'd like whoever's watching to chime in.
You don't
I would just say FTX.
I'm really good at knowing what tracks.
I would just say FTX.
What are you thinking about?
That's just one company, though.
Yeah. That's just one company.
Yeah, that's just
and one company with billions of dollars.
It's
People
just
lost
like
billions.
Banks, but we still got paper currency and coins and stuff.
But again, this. Your questions are legitimate, but the problem with your thing I'm saying is the same thing I just talked about with progression.
Yeah.
We've had banks since
Forever.
1800, whatever bank started. I don't even know when they started, right? Cowboys, Wells Fargo started with the wagons, right?
Yeah.
In a few years, we just had crypto. We want crypto to take over the whole world
right away. That's gotta have.
We don't know any of the downfalls, the good, the bad, how far it can go, which way it can turn, how easily it can be manipulated. We don't know anything. We think we know everything because we're like, bro, because the people are pushing it are like, listen, this is the new thing. We need to get rid of cash, right? We already got rid of gold, and that was something that we look back on now that we probably shouldn't have done either. Yeah. Right, where gold is not the standard.
But once you make that decision to flip over, you can't go back.
We can't go back. We couldn't go back. So we can't go back to the gold standard because gold, we don't have enough gold to support $20, $30 trillion of money, right? We don't have enough gold to back that. So we can't go back. Once we go and we go to crypto, we can't be like, oh, you know what, let's go back to money, paper money.
We should have never did that, but it's too late
when
now.
we burned it all. All the money's burned. Shit. And we don't have it no more. And they're like, all right, well, we'll just fucking do this, figure this out. Which I'm not saying that could be bad or good. I'm saying, like I said, we've been doing this for 200 years. Not to say that we can't change or something we shouldn't change. Like right now, we don't even deal with cash. We deal with debit cards. Whether that's better or worse for us,
we still gotta wait on that. We're still waiting.
I might say that having a debit card is probably worse than having cash because you don't never know, or a credit card.
I don't know how much I got.
I like the fact that there's still a choice and you can still use whatever.
Eventually,
but for the most part,
that won't be a
how
choice.
many times is cashless? How many places have you gone to that say cashless? We're a cashless bar.
Most.
We're a cashless store.
I have gone to some places.
So eventually, cash is not going to be
a thing.
It's not going to be the thing to have.
I get it.
So,
but I'm saying that
they're already doing
the
it.
fact that they are already doing it.
You can go back.
We're already doing it. We're already in that transition period right now, like you just said, where that dollar really it's in the bank, and really you never see it, and really you just swipe your card or tap your
Bro,
card now.
Amazon has.
And they're in the middle of transition. This actually took for a long time.
Amazon
right?
has-
Imagine if we jumped to crypto. That's we're going too far.
Amazon has nothing.
Yeah.
You walk into Amazon, you can walk out with your stuff. They're supposed to be able to scan your eyes or something. There's got one in Seattle. It's called like a touchless,
They don't have anybody
cashless
there. Nobody works there.
credit card. Nobody works there. You go in, grab your stuff. It's supposed to be able to tell you. I guess
Crazy,
you
right?
sign in maybe, grab your stuff and sign out, and then it charges your card.
That's slow progression.
right.
You said Amazon. Amazon warehouses.
No, Amazon store.
Like a
Has an
Walmart.
Amazon store that's like
like
touchless,
Amazon has a
cashless,
store?
everything.
It's like a Walmart.
Okay.
You don't even need a card. You go in there. I don't
Nobody
know. I don't know
works there?
exactly how it works, but I know
I
it.
didn't even know Amazon had stores.
They do. They got one in Seattle. They got one. But you can go in
But
there,
it's
grab your
crazy.
stuff off the ground, go out, walk outside, and that's it.
So let me tell you.
So who's selling the stuff in the Amazon store?
Nobody.
So look.
It's on the shelves.
Look, the first test is what? Is you go in and there's no more cashiers. They got people. There's no more cashiers. Let me do my.
Okay, well, it was a question. I wanted to know what y'all felt about
No,
it.
no,
what y'all
I-
thought
It's a
about
good
it.
question.
No, it's a good
Yeah.
question because it goes along with what we're saying.
All right.
Because
So can I give my own
yeah,
opinion
oh
on
yeah,
my
of
own
course.
question?
That's what we.
All right.
That's the whole point of us talking.
Yeah.
You gotta
So
start
this is
opinion.
what I think.
Yeah.
So this is what I
You
think
fucked
about
up
it, right?
there.
So this is what I think about it.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's another option, but I don't think it should take over either. And here's the thing about it:
Not
it's
yet,
technology, right? And we're talking about how things could go too far, and we might leave some people behind.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about my mom, who could hardly use the phone, the
Yeah.
iPhone,
The tablets.
She got now.
Yeah.
The iPhone 8 she got now, like by how many generations behind?
When you get a chance.
For her to now to be only have to deal with, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
digital assets and
That's
that
a
to
whole
pay.
new game.
And to now buy
Dude.
crypto and
Yeah.
Bitcoin
I
and
get
looking
that.
into all this different
So you're
stuff.
saying that's better?
No, it's gonna be harder
No.
for
Harder
your
for
for
her.
his
Yeah,
mother.
yeah, for sure.
She got, I'm saying she
She
can
can barely
hardly
use
use
the
the
internet.
iPhone
iPhone
8
now.
she got
Yeah.
now.
But that's just
Yeah.
that's how. But see again,
We're gonna
that's
leave
how
people behind.
fast. That's how fast we're moving.
Yeah,
yeah,
Right? Because they had time before to understand things.
yeah.
yeah.
Right? We don't even have time to understand it anymore. We just got to do
We
it.
just gotta go.
True.
It's a new way to do things now.
Right?
And you're like, what?
Yeah.
You just
'Cause
walk into a
I'm
place-
still learning it myself.
Look at what COVID did. Just COVID alone, how fast the progression
changed
happened.
the world.
How many
Yeah.
things changed from
Yeah.
that? It's crazy, bro.
Uh-huh.
But then that goes to show you, like, we just jumped and skipped 20 years of shit that we could have waited, held off on.
They started trying to create.
crazy.
Listen, they started trying to create new technology, new advanced shit during COVID,
Yeah.
which was only a couple years.
Yeah.
Shit that was gonna
They had to
change the
speed some
world.
shit up.
That we were gonna do forever.
Mm.
Touchless shit,
Crazy.
video shit, Zoom. They came out with new companies. Zoom, all those companies became big
Huge.
during that time, which
Shit
is crazy.
changed. Crazy. There's a new way to do business now.
I mean, it made sense.
No, it
though,
does
and
make
I
sense.
liked it.
I don't ever
But
go.
we
against,
weren't
like,
there
making sense.
yet.
I'm saying
it pushed us 10 years. That would have been 10
Yeah.
years from. If
Probably.
COVID didn't happen, 10 years later, boom, we're
we
doing the
might
same
have we
thing.
might have did work from home thing.
Yeah. They were like, you
Right.
know what, this is kind of unhealthy.
Just like we're, now some people are doing they want to do the 36-hour work week or the 4-day work week and all this other stuff. All that stuff, can happen. I just think we got to try to, instead of, because when this is what happened, when people see that the goal line, they don't think about themselves going to the goal line. They want everybody to go to the goal line with them.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's how people do their, when they're going for something. Like they think it's a business too. Now, if I can get everybody to go to the goal line, then I'll make more money. Everybody wins, whatever, and this is
Right.
better for everybody.
Yeah.
But I don't think we gotta slow down on, trying
Back
to
to
push it on
basics.
everybody, and especially having the government to make it where it is permanent.
Let's just take a
thing.
knee. Let's take a minute.
Right? It's like have a store do it. Have a couple places do it. Like this one right here with the Amazon. Have them
Yeah.
do it. Shit, tell me how it works out.
Yeah.
Let them do it for a couple years.
The thing is, too, is that there's
See if it
you,
works.
you have to follow the money.
Yeah.
Money is in that progression.
Oh, money's always.
They're like, oh, here's a problem we can solve. Let's fill the
Correct.
gap.
We always try to.
And you guys are asking for it. Finally, we present it to you. And we're like, whoa, dude, this was only been 3 months ago we talked about this. It's already here?
And it works for 3 months, and they're like, this has to change for the whole world. And you're like, what? The whole world.
Golly, bro. Look at
Yeah.
our school system. Change some shit in there, bro.
They don't never change that.
You know how much shit's
That's
gotta be
fun.
changed
That's-
in there?
That's the crazy part. They don't never ever advance
Hey,
that.
touch it. They don't even touch it.
They don't touch
Just
our
leave
school
it.
system.
It's the same shit, bro. The things they do is they make like another colorful, like a more colorful book.
It'll be the same books that we learn from.
That's what I'm saying. Anyway,
But again, back to the basics is part of that, so I'm all for that too.
yeah.
So,
like, subscribe, share,
comment.
comment. Tell us
For
what you
sure.
guys think about that. What
yeah.
is,
Tell us what you think about crypto.
yeah. Tell us what you think about this. Does stick
Progression,
to
this advancedness.
Whatever we spoke about, if you want to talk about it.